and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that brutal OSC because we have returned here with the upper bracket finals of the H.4.0.S Galactic Battle by ENDORFY. I'm, of course, your host, Live VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely, the beautiful, the Yaku of the Zaku. Beautiful. As we have been bearing witness here to this tournament so far, the playoffs have been underway, and we've already had one big upset by one of these players. Our Protoss player, Krystianer, was able to bring down Spirit of all players, was able to knock him down to the lower bracket. Can he cause another miracle upset?
That's what we're about to find out here as we spawn into game number one here on Oceanborn. We're here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left for game number one of this best of three. Keep that in mind. Best of three upper bracket finals. We have a blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Poland representing Team Liquid. We have Elazer.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have his opponent. We have the red Polish Protoss player. He just took down Spirit to make it this far. Representing Team Blazer, it is Krystianer.
Already, like you mentioned, proving himself in as a player to be reckoned with in today's LAN. He's taken out Spirit, but Elazer, very different player in front of him right now. A player who actually already has warmed up a little bit in this matchup.
Yeah, and that is scary because I would say that Geralt and Krystianer are comparable in skill. I do think that Krystianer is a little bit more aggressive in this matchup, but in saying so, likewise, so was Geralt in that previous series. He was very much so in the face of Elazer, was trying to be in the face of him in both in Game 1 and Game 2, but Elazer was able to survive the onslaught, was able to weather the storm, and come out on top. And I'm sure Krystianer was watching. I hope he was watching that series because that could give him a little bit of insight as to how he should approach Elazer.
Indeed, it does. If they ever get onto Alcyone, which I don't believe they are, I would have to double check the vetoes, but if they ever get on Alcyone, he knows where to send the DTs.
There you go. Specifically the DTs. Until then, though, we're getting into our openers. We'll foresee Unnatural Natural here on Oceanborn. Oceanborn is going to be an interesting map. We have seen a lot of aggressive plays on this map. Reasoning for it is the rush distance by ground is shorter. Likewise, this third base is more exposed as well. There's no kind of ramp or point of elevation that you have it at your advantage. You can kind of get to the same point of elevation here through the center of the map, which is why we do see a lot of Queen Rochel lins from the side of Zerg, and likewise a lot of gateway-based aggression from the side of the Protoss.
Yeah, and speaking of which, this is also already a pretty good sign, or already a pretty good start for Krystianer, being able to force out the unnatural natural like this. So we'll see where this goes. Not opting for a Twilight Council this time, actually sticking to a Stargate, which is still very, very effective, but I would have expected something a little bit different from forcing out the unnatural.
Yeah, it's going for a standard opener here, despite the initial start of Elazer. Is going for a Stargate, should be for Oracle. We have seen a rise in popularity of Void Ray openers, and Krystianer was even embracing that previously in some of the online cups of the House Open, but it is going to be the Oracle, not the Void Ray.
Yeah, nice and standard things here coming out from Krystianer. No Fleet Beacon whatsoever, so I just want to see Proxy Tempest again.
You're an animal. No Tempest, no Sky Toss here. Meanwhile, the NFA shaded into the main base. 2 workers already going to be going down. We get 3, we get 4. Can we get 5? We barely cannot, but 4 drones for 2 adepts. Not a bad trade here for Krystianer.
Yeah, not bad at all. Of course, the major point of contention there is that he doesn't have those adepts anymore, so yeah, he might have wanted to keep them around a little bit longer for, scouting, to apply a little bit more pressure, but in the end, they are gone, and they did get some damage done.
Yeah, the biggest downside of losing those adepts is that you can't expand. You cannot, it's so difficult to expand back at home without warping in additional adepts, which is why we see, instead of a third base, we have a Twilight Council and a Robo on the way. The Oracle gets 1 drone in the main base, takes a lot of hull damage here in the main. Krystianer is forced out. But again, this is a very aggressive follow-up. Twilight Council, Robo, we have 3 more gates behind this. It's going to be 4 gates in total here. We are taking up even further towards a Templar Archives.
That is a very aggressive upgrade here coming out from Krystianer, and one that he can just about barely afford on 2 bases. But like you said, if you're not able to expand, you might as well tech up elsewhere. This does mean that Krystianer will be gearing up to have a very powerful army much earlier on.
Exactly. So Krystianer's economy is pretty late. There's a very late third base from our Protoss player, so he's going to be struggling a little bit economically as a result. But as we did point out, a lot of tech has been prioritized here. We're rushing into faster Archons more than anything. This should be Chargeable Archon Immortal overall, and this is the style that Krystianer is known for. He actually has beaten Elazer with this, where we're building up a death bull of an army. Archons, Immortal, Charge Lots. On 3 bases, we're going to have a pretty hefty army, and we will eventually push out.
Yeah, and this is, like you said, just a very potent timing, and one that can very much so catch the Zerg player off guard. It's one that they do kind of need to be prepared for, and one that they need to be building up a defense for, namely by building up more Roaches and Raptors and whatnot.
Oh, exactly. As for the time being, Lings, they do threaten the third base. Oracle does defend back at home, and meanwhile the Archon job gets into the main, but the Queens are in position.
And they will be able to chase away this Warp Prism. Krystianer thinks about it for a second, notices the extra 2 Queens that are in position, and decides not worth it. Backs away with that Warp Prism.
Exactly, does back away. Meanwhile, Elazer already making a wave of Roaches as well. He does confirm the main order of these probes. He's aware that Krystianer is droning, is probing, but Elazer isn't. He's cutting workers early at 53. He has not saturated his third base. He has undersaturated it, and he's building up a massive army, and this is what we spoke about. Queen Roach all-ins are definitely a thing on this map, and we are now moving out across time. Elazer being hyper-aggressive. He has been scouted.
But what can he really do to stop this? Well, he can warp in a couple of sentries, try to make use of force field, get a couple of shield batteries, maybe a bit too late for shield batteries. Regardless, he can defend, but it's going to be very difficult to say the least. I say that as the Elazer turns around.
Yeah, he's turning back around, which is odd as well. He's droning, by the way. Elazer, he did get scouted. He sees the position, he sees the Immortals and the sentries, and he thinks better of it. And this is a very good position for Krystianer. I do think that Elazer could have committed, 100%. I do think he could have committed. This backing off of Elazer is huge, though, because his drone count is very low. Like, he cut workers early on, and he's still not recovered economically.
That he really has not. He's trying really hard right now to get a 4th base up and running, which is what he needs to do to try to stabilize economically. He is teching up pretty aggressively to try to make up for that, throwing down that infestation pit, now throwing down a baneling nest as well. But this is a massive window where Krystianer is free to do pretty much whatever he wants. Whether he wants to expand, whether he wants to do what he's doing right now, which is harass Archons. Yeah. Elazer's going to be leaving him alone.
Really nice juggling out of Krystianer. He kills one of the Queens. He shaves off a good chunk of Lings as well. We do have a Hallucination Scout getting into the main base. We get eyes on the Bailey Nest and the Morphing in Hive. We also caught a glimpse of the Infestation Pit, so everything has been scouted. We confirm the 4th base. Krystianer knows his opponent is teching and droning, and I'm ready for the push. Because remember, we teched up heavily here for Krystianer, and look at how many Immortals we have. We're making 2 Immortals at a time. We're going to have a terrifying army, and we will soon move out. And I don't know if Elazer can deal with this.
Yeah, that's still to be determined. Still warping in a couple more High Templar. Storm is about to finish up charge as well. +2 now getting started as well. So this is going to be a very potent move out here from... A very potent move out here from Elazer, but one that's also not impossible to defend against with what Elazer has right now, Roaches and Ravagers.
Yeah, but a lot of his supply is actually across the map here, knocking down these rocks. There we go. Now he's going to be responding. He does see the army. Bearing in mind, Storm is done, and we have how many High Templar? 4 High Templar each, soon with 1 Storm each.
Yeah, that's a lot of energy between all of them. All of them about half energy, so they're about to have 2 Storms as well. Good force fields here. Purification Nova? No, Corrosive Bile, the Zerg Purification Nova, will land on a couple of sentries, but not much else. That 4th base is killed not cancelled.
Oh!
Elazer only now starting his surround.
Yeah, 2 of the storms already made it out. A 3rd storm is through now. We have 1 storm left. It does get spent there on the roaches in the Head Templar. They've all been taken out one after the other. We go for a head-to-head fight, and Immortal gets caught as it does rally into the army.
And in a head-to-head fight without any storms, the Elazer's army is looking a bit more powerful, getting a bit of surround here on top of the Immortals, but this 5th base will be going down. Elazer can win the engagement, but even if he does, his economy is in absolute shambles. He's going to need to do a lot more than that.
Yeah, we catch the army. We got another 2nd surround here as well. Elazer, he swallows up the army. There was a lot of power behind that push. We did kill the 4th base, but it looks like we did stick around a little bit too long, and we got surrounded. Now, Krystianer, he is in a world of hurt. He still has a little bit of Immortals, but again, he's 3-base all-in. Like, he is very all-in here. That was designed to kill, and so far, Elazer is still kicking.
Yeah, still alive, still thrashing around, about to be kicking a lot faster and a lot harder once Adrenal Glands finish up.
Yeah, Hive is on Adrenal, finishing up just now. Good hold position Micro here on the drones, keeping the Queen alive, buying time for the rest of the army to arrive. And Elazer, he has maxed out on Ling, Roach, Ravager. Krystianer, he needs to pull off a miracle defense. Still has a lot of Immortals, did retain a lot of them, that is true, but he lost 5 Immortals in that push. And we need some storms. We need time to gather up energy on these High Templar.
We really, really do. This is a good position to defend for Krystianer, as what Prism Harass is doing a really good job of keeping Elazer busy for the time being on his side of the map. But like you said, this is a maxed out Zerg army that we have. It's a well upgraded Zerg army as well, with Adrenal Glands and with Baneling Speed.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It's a terrifying force. I mean, Krystianer is still building himself up and still making even more Immortals, by the way. Like, this is still terrifying, but Krystianer is still all in. Like, he has no way to reinforce after this. Good storm here on the Banelings!
Yeah, so many of them do get weakened, and a lot of them actually get taken out immediately. So that does put a bit of a halt to most of Elazer's momentum. This 4th base will be taken out, will be cancelled.
Does get cancelled. Big storm here would take out what little is left of those Banelings. Only a handful do remain. At the same time, big Zealot counterattack here on the right hand side. The base is going to be falling. The Prism is going to be harassing, keeping a lot of the supply tied up here in the main base. And Krystianer is pushing now. Unfortunately for Krystianer, his Prism is across the map. He cannot reinforce his army here on the front lines.
That he cannot. He can try to recall the War Prism, I suppose, but that's still going to take a little bit of time. Then he's going to have to spend time sending the War Prism to his main army as well. A lot of Banelings being caught out before they finish morphing, and a lot more of them do get caught out in the storms. Roaches and Ravagers starting to surround this army, but the storms are unrelenting. And Archon goes down, but the backbone of this army is still alive. Banelings connected the High Templar, though!
Yeah, the Banelings, they connect. The Biles connect as well, and we lose a big chunk of the Immortals as well. We do need reinforcements, and here we go. They finally arrive, but they are late to the party here. Again, because we cannot reinforce. The Prism finally joins the main army.
And that's something going to help out a ton with the micro, a ton with the juggling, and with the reinforcements as well. I can still see Krystianer breaking through here.
Yeah, he's close. I mean, he already killed the base. Top right did go down. Center left is going to be going down as well, as Elazer is completely cut off. But remember, Elazer, he's remaxing. He's remaxing. He has time on his side. Krystianer doesn't. The longer this goes on, well, I mean, again, Elazer, he has another terrifying army that can go toe-to-toe with Krystianer. Wise move here. Krystianer backs off.
Yeah, very wise move. As a counterattack will be able to do a lot in the middle of the map, or if that army gets caught in the middle of the map, I should say. Krystianer backing off. Getting a 4th base, sorry, starting to main out a couple of probes over as well. He does need time to recover. He does need time to stabilize economically. Again, the damage that he dealt, taking out all of these bases, is huge. The only problem is Krystianer wasn't really able to capitalize with a base of his own until now.
Exactly, and we do catch the base itself. Probe's going to be going down. The base does fall. Krystianer, he was out of position. He did not see the army coming ahead of time. Banelings, they do connect. 6 probes go down. And Krystianer still is stuck on a 3-base all-in. He needs a 4th. At the same time, though, he's been doing a great job here at denying the 5th base of Elazer over and over again.
Just like so. Flyer weapons starting to be in production, and that's honestly a really good idea right now for Elazer. This one War Prism has been the absolute MVP for Krystianer.
Yeah, so often he's just been keeping a laser here on the back foot, has been denying base after base after base. That was another cancel on the 5th. A laser likewise doesn't have the best economy either, but he is maxed once again. Krystianer not too far behind, and this time he's replenished his High Templar.
Indeed, he has. He needs to be very, very careful not to expose them too much here. I suppose that is a bit of a downside here when you're going Archon Immortal like this. You don't have much of a gateway buffer for your squishy High Templar, but, you know, ideally, the Storms are their own buffer.
Exactly, and here we go. We have a lot of Banelings that are amassing here. Are there Storms going to be enough? Can we connect with the Juicy Core, the Juicy Center of this army? There are some Archons that help support, but here we go. The Banelings coming in. Storm is going to send them away.
Yeah, 2 Storms. A lot of Storms being thrown down, and there's still more where that came from. None of the Banelings are able to connect. A couple of Corrosive Vials do land, though. Archons are starting to be dealt with. Banelings once again unable to connect with anything. One Baneling will connect, but the High Templar very, very quick to be morphed into Archons. Elazer does have the defender's advantage on his side, but Krystianer looks like he has enough firepower to keep this going.
Yeah, he's breaking through. The boys are being pulled. They have to be pulled here. The Vials, oh, they connect with another Archon. Here comes the reinforcements. They barely do push in. And Krystianer, he still has 6 Immortals with this army. They're doing so much damage here in the back line. We dodge the Vials, and Elazer, he's in a lot of trouble. He loses every single worker at his 3rd base. He's being forced to pull the boys here at the natural.
He is. That was his one big advantage going into this. Warp Prism actually absolutely helping out a ton.
Oof.
Immortals do get recalled. So much economic damage has been dealt. Krystianer reduced to 5. Yeah, 5 Immortals, and they're actually pretty badly bruised. He does need to be a little bit careful of a potential counterattack, but Elazer, from having a super, super solid economy to being maxed out, to be able to remax each and every time, is now in an even worse position than Krystianer, now that he's got that 4th base up and running.
He is. Krystianer, he's ahead. He's ahead economically here. He has a larger army. He almost killed the Laser then and there. As you mentioned, there was a moment when it looked like 3 Banelings had connected. They killed like half the High Templar. They forced in more Archons. That was such a close attack there. In general, though, Krystianer did very well when it came to storming and taking down many of those Banelings. Ooh, but he does get outpositioned, and this mineral line is going to be going down. His economic advantage no longer there.
Yeah, Krystianer will be turning around to try to deal with that now. Elazer needs to be very, very careful with this army. This is most of his army at the moment.
It really is. He does leave 1 Roach behind to deal with this, to pick away at the army, and it looks like he's getting caught out. It looks like this entire Roach army of Elazer is going to be shut down.
Yeah, and you can argue that he does want to start trading out his Roaches to get more efficient units, but he's actually really struggling to remax right now.
He really is. Elazer, his supply is down in the gutter. He has gone into mass muta, though, into Archons.
Yeah, if you can magic box this well enough, then this might be what wins him the game, what turns this game around, but it is not going to be enough. GG is called, and Krystianer will be taking game number 1.
GG, well played. The juggling towards the end there from Krystianer, just keeping his Archons alive. As you were saying, the magic boxing from the mutas were not good enough. The Hail Mary play there from Elazer, and Krystianer, he's doing it once again. He already took down Spirit in this tournament, and now he has a 1-0 lead against Elazer.
Just like so. That Warp Prism, man. That one Warp Prism, I still think is the absolute MVP of that game. The amount of times Elazer had to turn his army around when he honestly could have gone for the kill, but he didn't want to risk it. He had to turn his army around to deal with harass. If he got those mutas out a little bit sooner, then maybe things would have been a little bit different here for him. We were talking about that move out, right? When we had that huge engagement where a couple of Banelings almost connected with the High Templar, and everything was forced to, and all of them were forced to be turned into Archons. The thing that really put Krystianer over the top there were the reinforcing Zealots at the end. If not for that game would still be going on.
That was one of the few times where Krystianer actually had his War Prism with his army, and he could actually reinforce as well, and he was barely breaking through. On top of that, I have to give credit to Krystianer as well when it comes to retaining his Immortals.
Mhm.
even in fights where he was losing and even in fights where he was pushed back, he was so quick to recall. He was so quick to
Yep.
recall, and whenever he would preserve and he would retain maybe 4, sometimes 5 immortals. And sure, he'd be losing a good chunk of them, but he'd be retaining a lot of them for the follow-up push, and he would be able to keep his momentum going, keep his army strong throughout that entire game.
Yeah, without a doubt. Those Immortals really lived up to the name.
They really did. I wouldn't be surprised if there was still an immortal alive from the very first immortal push as well, even like 3 immortal pushes later. So very impressive stuff there. Very aggressive style out of Krystianer. This is something that he has been doing and he has been Elazer with before, where it is pretty all in, right? Like he's
Yep.
on a very low base count, very low worker count. There's so much pressure on him to kill bases and to also stifle the economy of Elazer. And if he isn't able to pull it off, if he does any worse than he did previously, then Elazer snowballs out of control, right? He had hive tech, he had bases. Imagine if he was able to get a 5th up. It was so clutch that Krystianer stopped that from happening.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, we saw what happens when Elazer's economy gets out of control in his series against Geralt, right? In
Yeah.
actually both games. I think about it. So it looks like
Exactly.
Krystianer was paying attention to that series, taking down
Mhm.
notes.
He's aware of how terrifying a laser can be, and he's got that kind of fire lit underneath him to get damage done, and he has been able to do so. He has a lead in the series. As a reminder to everyone, this is the upper bracket finals. Winner advances onto the grand finals, and this is a best of 3, not a best of 5.
Indeed. And here we are now, continuing our best of 3, not a best of 5, on Site Delta. We're in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have our red Protoss player coming down from the land of Poland. We have, representing Team Blazer, Krystianer.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player, the best Zerg player in all of Poland. A favorite in this series, a favorite in this tournament, but struggling here against his current opponent. Can he bring it back? Can we force an ace match? Representing Team Liquid, it is Elazer.
Yeah. Yeah. Already warmed up a little bit against Geralt, but having a little bit more difficulty here against a bit of a more aggressive Protoss player like Krystianer. Again, I mean, you pointed it out very early on. Elazer was planning to go for a Queen Roach all-in,
Yeah.
but at the very last second just turned around.
Yeah, that was a big moment, right? Where I had almost forgotten that, where Elazer almost put himself in a really awkward economic position because he started with
Almost?
a Roach Queen all in. Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely
with,
did, yeah.
yeah, yeah, with that all in, and he changed his mind. And from that moment, Krystianer, he had momentum, he had potential, and he was able to flex that as well. So, pretty interesting dynamic. When it comes to this map, Side Delta, what I will say is that Queen Roach all-ins are a lot less common. So, Elazer's not going to be as tempted as he was on Oceanborn.
Well, we'll see about that. Well, yeah, I miss the days of the Warsaw subway. I think is what it's
Uh-huh.
called. Well, I say I
Yeah.
miss that, but I don't as a non-Zerg player. Now that the Nidus Worm has been nerfed, thankfully, yeah, that's not really a thing that we're going to see anymore. Elazer was the guy who popularized that. Was the player who really innovated in that way.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. And we'll see. We'll see if Elazer can innovate once again and bring something different to the table against Krystianer, or if he can refine his play as well. Again, like as you mentioned, like a big part of that last game was, the failed all-in did put him really awkward in a position, and we'll see. I mean, I imagine that won't be happening this time. I'm sure this time Elazer will be a little bit more in control as he's taking his third base, as he's droning on up. Meanwhile, across the map, we do see Krystianer going for another Stargate opener once again.
Yeah, nice and standard. Won him game number 1. So, well, actually, I don't know if the Stargate particularly won him game number 1, but he won game number 1, and he went with a Stargate opening. So that's science.
Ooh, that is science, and There it is, Oracle in production here from Krystianer. Standard opener for the time being. Now, the question becomes, does he try the same style 2 games in a row? I hope not. In previous series that we've casted from Krystianer, he has done so, where he's tried to pull it off multiple times as the adepts shade in. We're getting a lot of damage done.
Yeah, even getting that elusive 5th drone, 6th drone even. These adepts have more than paid for themselves. Now, obviously, a similar thing happened in game number 1, and it did delay the expansion of Krystianer quite a bit because he did lose those adepts, but I'm not sure if that's something he's really concerned about this time, as immediately throws down that 3rd.
Yeah, and because there aren't that many links. There's only 4. There's only 4 links here. This is not enough to really threaten this space. We're applying a bit of pressure, but the Oracle comes out just in time, and Krystianer, he will hold on to his 3rd base. At the same time, he gets 3 more drone kills across the map. That's going to be how many? 9 in total. A much better start here for Krystianer in game 2.
Without a doubt, and we'll see if he's going to be able to ride this momentum potentially into a victory. You know, if he can knock down 2 kings into the lower bracket just with this very aggressive style.
Oh yeah, exactly. As the Oracle does dive into that mineral line, 3, 4 workers going to be going down once again. Can we get 5? Just barely not, but this is already quite a bit of damage dealt once again.
Yeah, once again, this is damage that's going to give Elazer pause, and like you said, we're not done. And another Oracle comes in to finish off that 5th drone. How you like them potatoes?
Exactly. That's going to be 4. Look at the trade so far. The units lost have 14 drones for 2 adepts. We have retained everything, and we're not done. We have another 2 adepts coming in behind this. We're taking up even further. It was a Twilight Council follow-up with a Forge. This should be +1 in Blink, but with this Templar Archives, looks like +1 in Charge to get into Chargeable Archon once again.
Already proving itself to be very potent in game number 1, and one that I don't doubt will also be effective here in game number 2. My eyes are a little bit more on the Elazer this time. I don't believe he threw down that Roach Warren, so he might be going for a bit more of a Ling Bane style.
Yeah,
you're there. Well, he also hasn't thrown out Baneling, that's sassy.
Yeah, we're sticking with just purely droning for the time being. We're being a little bit greedy here as a result. Stasis Trap in towards the natural base. Elazer, no reacting!
Oh, that is more drones than I can count being caught up in that stasis ward. A lot of lost mining time. Way too much lost mining time, really, as we are working on our transition, as the Elazer is working on his transition after getting lair tech.
Exactly, and behind this, we're building up the charge lots. As we can see here, charges on the way, gateway explosion as well. Immortals are amassing, and Krystianer, he's just keeping the pressure up. We have the Oracle between the main and the natural. We have the double Oracle threatening the 3rd base, and we have Adept shading into a mineral line as well. And Elazer has been cutting corners. 0 links for Elazer. He has been purely droning this entire time to catch back up because he's lost so much. As a result, he has so little to defend. Up!
Even more drones do get caught up in a 2nd stasis ward. One of the Oracles finally goes down, but I don't think that's much of a consolation here, as Krystianer is gearing up for that timing push, and the Elazer has nothing but lings. Not even +1 lings, not just yet. Krystianer's actually going to finish up that upgrade before Elazer does.
He is. Again, Elazer, basically this game, he's doing Elazer things, and that is being hyper greedy. He's been hyper greedy, only been droning. Now he has lings, but he's about to run into an army. He's about to run into what Krystianer has been building up, and Elazer, that greed is kind of catching up with him. As I say that, though, I believe he took down every Oracle. Yes, every single Oracle has finally fallen. A little bit of miscontrol there out of Krystianer, but that's because he's focusing on this, on his push.
Exactly. Elazer's got a lot of lings, and if he was up against Blinkstalkers, those would be what he wants. But he's not. He's up against Charged Archon, Spire, Roach Warren, Baneling Nest, all being thrown down simultaneously because the Elazer just needs to tech somewhere. He's hoping the run by will pull this army back, but Krystianer is undeterred. He pushes in, and there's nothing Elazer can do. GG is called. Krystianer takes out not 1, but 2 Kings of Poland, and will make it to the grand finals this time, yes. Absolutely clinical.
Let's go. GG, well played, as Krystianer, I mean, as Elazer was just being hyper greedy that game, purely droning up, and we've seen Elazer do this before. We've seen Elazer play against many a Protoss player where he loses a lot of drones, but it's okay because he's just replacing them at such an alarming rate. But the aggression from Krystianer was wild. The non-stop stasis traps, dead workers, the Adept harass, the Orca harass, all leading into that push. And as we saw, Elazer had nothing to defend. He went for a big link counterattack where the wall was solid at the natural and the third base, and he had a forest of spore crawlers, forest of
Well,
spine crawlers on the way that had only just started. He had realized
yeah.
how vulnerable he was, and Krystianer, he smelled blood in the water. The Kingslayer himself, he takes down Spirit and Elazer. Crazy.
Absolutely insane, yeah. Taking out Elazer 2-0 as well. That is not something that happens often in Polish lands like this, and you can see the crowd going wild. It is historic right here.
It is.
Hasn't been crowned just yet. There is still one best of 7, I believe, that he has to go through, but hey, he's already been able to take out the two of his possible opponents coming up here. So I refresh the bracket real quickly. Okay, Spirit versus Geralt actually has been held for us, I believe. So yeah, there are 3 potential opponents in front of Krystianer. A Zerg player, a Terran player, and a Protoss player. He's already beaten 2 of them in this playoff bracket so far. His odds are looking very, very good going into these finals.
This is a miracle run out of Krystianer. A miracle run here. This has not been an easy bracket. Not at all. He went through Spirit and Elazer to make it to the grand finals. And again, he's beaten these players before, but I mean, to beat them both back to back on stage at an offline event, Krystianer, we know that he's been improving, he's been doing well, but I did not foresee this outcome for him to be the one in the finals. And this also means that Geralt, Spirit, and Elazer, they're all going to knock each other out. Only one of them can make it to those finals to vie for that championship.
Yeah, there can only be one.
There can only be one. We're going to be going on a short break here while the players set up their setups on top of on the stage, of course, with the peripherals, with their settings. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, Spirit versus Geralt, to determine which of these two is eliminated from the H.4.0.S Galactic Battle.
Yeah, we shall see. It's going to be a best of 3, though. So that's not as stressful as the best of 1s they've just come out of.
Yeah, they have endured. They have endured for this one moment. We'll see you soon.
See you then.